Welcome to Tekedia Mini-MBA. I'm Ndubuisi Ekekwe. Our conversation today will focus on the plan for restart, the path to growth, as we are hoping that this lockdown, as a result of the coronavirus, will be over very, very soon. So because we are in business, it's very important that we go back with a very strong strategy. What we need to do as we open our offices, as we open our businesses, as we go back to our desk to begin to create the utilization of factors of production to drive efficiency in our business systems. So in this conversation, I am just going to go back to some of the elements and we have discussed in a pandemic playbook. This week we have focused on the pandemic playbook. What are the things that we need to do? And how can we do those things? What are the choices that are available? And how can we make those choices? And after we have made those choices, what are the possible outcomes? And then we can now, based on those outcomes, we now make a decision on what next we have to do. But those are the things that we have read and also the videos that we have watched since Monday. In this particular extension, I want to focus on preparing our minds for getting back to business on that first day, as soon as the government tells us that the lockdown is over. I'm very confident that before the end of this April, that the government will lift the lockdown. We already seeing the high level of paralysis. People are struggling because the lockdown is essentially a developed world way of managing this. But there's just no other alternative if we look into the developing world. But there is something that is missing. Somebody can buy foodstuff in America, and because there's a refrigerator, there is electricity, he or she can live maybe for 3 weeks inside his house and he'll be fine. But without electricity in place like Nigeria, it's going to be extremely difficult for people to actually survive 3 days without going back to market to buy something, because they can't store, they can't freeze, they can't preserve for a very long time because there is no power. So, yet there is no other alternative what government could have done. There are just no other thing. So this lockdown is exceedingly tough. And that is the reason why I believe vividly that as soon as there is light towards the end of the tunnel, government will say, hey, people, get back to work, because we have to work. So I want us to go back to that playbook. Look at those two cake samples. Pick one of those samples. Develop your pandemic playbook for your company. Refine that playbook. Talk to your supervisor. Talk to your manager. Let them give you inputs. And when everything has been done, get ready so that the day you get back to work, or some of those things can actually be done right now, you know exactly where you're going. But I'll tell you something, that there is going to be a massive shift in customer behavior. Your customers have changed. Your customers have been transformed. Your customers have been redesigned because they have experienced things they have not experienced for a very long time. The way they see life has changed. The way they see the construct of market system has changed. The way they see the relationship between a supplier and the person that is actually buying, the customer, everything has changed. And if you understand that, you now have to go back how you look at your business system, your business process, and the products and services you have in the market. It's a new normal, gentlemen and ladies, because in some cases we need to restructure our businesses. We need to say this aspect of our business has to change. If you do not have an online component on how you drive your business, now is the time to have a digital strategy. We have discussed this issue strategy before, but I'm telling you now, it's not just about digital strategy. You also need to have an online strategy. You need to have presence on the web, not just presence to tell people about what you do, but to figure out how the web can help you advance your business mission by increasing your revenue at a very high level. And as you do that, think about payment. How can you collect money online? I know many of us have businesses where we are still afraid of opening shops or online kiosk on our website because we have not gotten away with the Yahoo boys and the 419. I tell you, if you work with some of our leading fintech companies in our nation, many of them have taken their businesses to the highest level in the world. So have confidence in them that if they say, hey, have this stock, have this store, those stores will be very, very, very protected. So there's just no reason why you can't do it because there's no other alternative right now. You need to have presence because your customers now have been reconditioned that they can actually pay for things online because over the last few weeks they have been paying for things online. So if you do not have a digital strategy that includes having a web presence, you'll be missing something. For weeks now, people are consuming media on internet, digital marketing. They are seeing how the internet works because for a very long time, they are disconnected from the physical realm of markets, but they are only interacting from the digital aspects of markets. I think as you go back, you need to see how those conversations that have been started online can also be sustained online because if you use the online, you are going to save a lot of money. Your marginal cost is going to come down, and if your marginal cost comes down, the implication of that you are going to improve your scalable advantage. If you improve your scalable advantage, you are going to scale that business more efficiently because you can scale without having to increase your costs. The marginal cost drops continuously instead of looking at an average fixed cost, giving you a bounded diminishing returns that can affect your level of expansion. Think about it. There is no need to put on a tie, enter a new car to go and see that customer when there is a possibility that you can speak through video. You've already spoken maybe last week with him through video. Why can't you continue that? Online learning, we are learning that it is actually a viable strategy. It doesn't have to be that somebody has to pay for first class or business class. Say somebody has to go to London before he or she can learn. We are seeing that some of the things that we used to do, we can do them more efficiently. It doesn't mean that we cannot send our staff to London to go for education. It doesn't mean that we can't send the United States. But there are times and moments when those things are not necessary. That's why digital learning, digital education will become a very, very viable option. So I expect about 80% of companies that were started in the last 3 years in Nigeria may collapse, about 40 in the last 5 years. So these are my numbers. I'm just feeling that if you look at the paralysis at the federal government budget level, at the state level government, in short, right now the state government has to tap for June the National Sovereign Wealth Fund in order for them to settle immediate obligations in the government, in the nation. So if they continue that, possibly by the end of this year, they can just shut down the sovereign wealth fund because there may not really be any money remaining. So the point is this, that things may actually get exceedingly tough. And companies may not just find the room to actually grow. Because no matter how you see it, the private sector in Nigeria is still a level of infancy. The public sector continuously dominates what we do. Our best and the largest bank, Guaranteed Trust Bank, is less than $2 billion in total market capitalization. That's a very small amount of money for our largest bank in market cap, less than $2 billion. So if you look at it clearly, the public sector spending is actually what drives the Nigerian economy at a very, very huge level. So if government cannot spend money, all of us are going to have a new playbook because things are not going to be easy. So the next point here is that your customers have been changed and they have also seen a new dimension of friction. For you to serve them, you need to understand that you have to look at a new basis of competition. You have to come back into the market. Find a way to turn them from consumers to customers and to fans, because it's when you get them to the level of fandom that is actually when you begin to make money from them. So it's key to know that that strategy involves you moving from serving their needs to moving to serving the expectation to the level of getting into their perception. Everything has changed. The perception of your customer, you have to go back to work on them. Because if you cannot work on them, you are not going to have a money. The needs are things the customers know they need. The expectation of customers are things you have already made their needs, but they expect you to offer them more. You're giving somebody electricity from coal. You've met his needs, but you've not met his expectation. The day somebody gives him electricity from renewable energy source like solar, he leaves. A perception is giving a customer something he or she has not even experienced. But the day he or she sees that, then he or she will come for it. We are going to have a section on perception marketing later in the program. So I'm not going to move deep into this conversation because I want us to spend a week looking at how we can do perception marketing, how we can drive new leverageable opportunity in the marketplace in the way we conceive our product system, in the way we build our solution system, and the way we interact with our customers. And when we do that, we will have a moment to play strategy, not to play luck. And I say right away, have a 7-day plan, what you do once you get into office. And then as soon as you have a 7-day plan, have a 1, 3, and 6-month strategy. Plans, just plan. What are the things that have to happen? Go back to that pandemic playbook. It's very, very important that you note the most critical parts of, can this company live alone? Or do I need to combine with another company? What is going to be the potential growth rate of this company? Can our runway, burn rate, can we sustain looking at what we see in the market? You need to unlock growth also by looking at if you can give discounts. And I would say, look at this figure here. The more you move away from these companies that have not been affected by COVID-19 at a very, very negative way. If you are here in leisure and tourism, which I would say is the highest hit in this moment, you may be asking yourself, how do I give discounts in order to unlock customers? Because you may need to activate the interest of customers to come for leisure and tourism right now as soon as you get back to business. So you may need to give a lot of discounts. And you may also offer credits to some of your customers if you're manufacturing, because some of them are dry. But by giving them credit, you can actually help them to ramp up the ability for you to get back to selling to your end customers. Because the fact is this, all these goods are in your warehouse. You've not sold them. So why not give them out on credit to your trusted partners? Check your debts to know where you are, because that will determine how your chief financial officer and the chief marketing officer have to come together to develop a playbook on that 7-day strategy, 1, 3, 6 months plan. You need to have them ready right now. And as you do that, don't expect our recovery to be like V-shape. Don't even expect it in Nigeria to be like U-shape. This is what you should expect. In short, I'm telling you, gentlemen and ladies, without trying to cause great fear in people, this is going to be a long one in the nation. Expect the very, very possible worst. But of course, we could be very, very lucky that we can have a U-shaped recovery. But I'm telling you, the fundamental elements that can help Nigeria to reignite growth, we don't have those things right now. And there is just no way of hoping that law will make it happen. The key thing here is for you to find, in the midst of this paralysis, how are you going to overcome? I expect the world at the global level to begin normalizing by Q3 2021. The secondary effects of this challenge of, if the retails, the airlines are not doing well, people are going to lose their jobs. There will be a lot of default. People can't service their loans. Unemployment is high. Consumer spending is going to be exceedingly low. So all this paralysis will create a huge shock in the global economy. And that means we expect recession, and that recession will affect the world, and recession will affect Nigeria. So the key for you is, are you going to explore partnership? If you can get into partnership with like companies, you can reduce the exposure to risk and manage your risk very, very optimally. I am still hoping that at the end of all, we can still have a profitable year. Let's make it happen, gentlemen and ladies. Tekedia Mini-MBA and Ndubuisi Ekekwe.